G'day guys, my name is Caleb, otherwise known as the Critic Kebab, and I'm continuing my series in the lead up to the 92nd Academy Awards, where I discuss my thoughts on each of the films nominated for Best Picture at this year's Oscars. I have a playlist with all the reviews, so make sure you are checking back frequently so you don't miss out on any of them. But if you do enjoy the video, please show your support by hitting that like button. Now, I had already reviewed this film once on the channel before, but I'm updating it to suit this new series that I'm doing. And that film is of course Ford v Ferrari. James Mangold is the director of this film, and it stars Matt Damon as Carroll Shelby and Christian Bale as Ken Miles. This is the true story of two friends and their attempts to build a revolutionary race car for Ford, and drive it so fast that it challenges the top class cars at Ferrari, and hopefully beat them at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And this is set in 1966. This is a beautiful film that delivers excellent motorcar racing, but at its core, it is a heartfelt story between two men who are desperate to overcome their personal demons and prove themselves against all the corporate interference that is involved at the highest level. I'm not a massive car junkie, but even I had a fun time watching this movie. Now, I believe the title of the movie is slightly misleading, because the story is more so about Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby than it is about these two massive car companies, Ford and Ferrari. Ferrari themselves play an important but minor part in the story, and Ford is obviously the host for most of the drama. The film is called Le Mans 66 in some overseas markets, and I believe that is a far more accurate title. But I do understand from a marketing perspective why the film is called Ford v Ferrari in some markets. I feel the narrative is effective at creating conflict and illustrating it in a way that is relatively understandable. Me personally, I wasn't fully captivated the entire time on my first viewing. But having seen it a second time, I definitely felt more engaged in the smaller moments. There are still a few moments throughout that drag the pacing, but I did enjoy myself more the second time. However, James Mangold does a good job giving us polished race car scenes that balance with the human drama off the track. The directing in this film is fantastic, and the performances are also world class. Damon and Bale are both amazing, and the entire supporting cast are also terrific. The cinematography is stunning, and every race car scene is exhilarating. There are so many moments that make you hold your breath in anticipation, and also so many moments that take your breath completely away, with jaw-dropping camera angles that give you the experience of being behind the wheel driving at 7,000 RPMs. I think this movie is very similar to First Man, the Damien Chazelle movie that came out in 2018, because that film put you in the headspace of Neil Armstrong, and truly made you feel like you were an astronaut in that claustrophobic and intense environment. That was achieved through tight close-ups and great camera movement, and I feel that James Mangold and his team did a similar job in creating an exhilarating environment that made you get inside the headspace of Ken Miles whilst he's flying around the racetrack. Another huge positive is that I could rarely tell the difference between what was practical and what was a visual effect. So much of this film looks so realistic and like it's actually happening in camera, and this made those scenes so much more engaging and visceral because you are seeing and believing. This was further assisted by expert editing and sound design. Also, when the music is used, it's used with purpose, and I thought the score was amazing because it heightened the desired emotional feeling and really helped set the mood on screen. The high moments really soar when the characters accomplish something, and that's what you want from entertainment. Overall, this is a solid sports drama that has amazing performances by its two leads and its supporting cast. The story is heartfelt and emotionally resonant despite the pacing sometimes dragging. And of course, the race car scenes are perfectly handled by James Mangold. And if you want to check out a movie that gives you the thrill of motorsports, whilst also exploring the best of human ingenuity, check out Ford v Ferrari. it is a recommendation from me. Now those are my spoiler-free thoughts on the film. So now I'm going to transition into my spoiler chat. If you have seen the movie, stick around to hear my thoughts on some of the spoilery moments, as well as hear my grade for the film. But if you have not seen the film and don't want to be spoiled, click off this video right now. You have been warned. This was certainly an educational movie for myself, who knew nothing about this story or time frame in history. But I do feel the screenplay could have done a better job in certain areas. I do feel that the screenplay does a good enough job of making you care for the protagonist, but I believe they could have done a better job of building up to the moment of Ken Miles' death at the end of the film. For me, it just felt rushed and didn't really get me as emotional as I think the filmmakers would have liked. The family dynamic was one of the strongest elements of the story, and the relationship between Ken and his son Peter was really sincere. Noah Jupe did a great job playing Peter and showing that keen interest in his dad's work, whilst also bringing that childlike innocence that really grounded the story in reality. I loved their dynamic, so watching Peter's face after the car crashed for a second time was heartbreaking and shocking. But like I said, it didn't quite get me fully emotional. This is probably my only fault with James Mangold's directing, because I just felt that immediate shock in the moment, but then it kind of just moves on and doesn't draw out the sadness of the situation. It isn't until Shelby confronts Peter later on that the sadness hits you. But despite Damon's great acting, it just didn't fully work for me, unfortunately. I just felt it was a bit rushed, and the pacing in these final moments didn't attempt to draw out all the emotion from you. But let me know in the comments below how you reacted to these final moments with the characters. Did it work for you, and are you fully satisfied with the ending? That's all I have to discuss on Ford v Ferrari. The final act of the film, when they're racing the 24 Hours of Le Mans, was brilliant, and worth a ticket admission alone, I think. But despite the second half of the movie picking up and getting a lot more engaging, there is a lot in the first half that just wasn't great, unfortunately. Regardless, I had a really good time watching this on the big screen with a great sound system, and that is how I would recommend watching this movie. I'm going to give Ford v Ferrari an A-. Thanks for watching the video. I would say that this is a worthy Best Picture nominee, but if I was a betting man, I wouldn't say that this will win the Oscar. It's a fantastic film and very well crafted, but I just don't think it's as good as some of the others, despite being one of my favourites of the year. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, like the video if you did enjoy it, and please subscribe if you are new to the channel. Once again, thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next video.